You are listening to the Tricorder Transmissions and 5-Year Mission, Episode 2. And now, here are Craig and Jeff.
Exactly as I remember you. Where have you been all of these years? Is there a place we can go off and talk and be alone? It's strange to run into you here. You're exactly what I want. You say I got just what you need. They don't see you the way.
Here we are with the second installment of What Are Little Songs Made Of? Thanks to everyone who tuned in last week for our debut episode. We saw over 120 downloads in the first couple of days, and we hope to keep those numbers growing as the series goes on. Special thanks to Neil Carpenter, Alex Lindner, and Lee Shirolis for the comments on Facebook. I hope I'm pronouncing all of your names correctly. If I'm not, feel free to roast me in the comments for this episode, and I will get your names right next week. Always great to hear back from listeners, and we really appreciate hearing what you think about the episodes and the work that we're doing here. So this week is episode number 2, which we will be talking about the second track from year 1, and that's Noah's The Man Trap. So Noah, you want to start us off by giving a little insight into the writing of this song?
That was the very first song. No, it wasn't. Right, Mike? It wasn't the first song.
That was the first song that you brought to the band.
It was the first song. Okay, yes. It was the first song that I brought to the band. When Mike had the idea and it was just me and him writing stuff, that was the first one. And I really liked that salt vampire kind of, I guess that's just like a fan term that got associated. It's not in the episode. They never say it in the episode. But I just thought that was such a great term, and it deserved to be shouted during a chorus. So that was yes. That was my main goal was to make sure we were shouting "Salt Vampire" during the chorus.
Which one of my biggest memories of recording the song was I was helping Noah mix the song one day, and that was not there. And then when I came back a few days later, and Noah was playing the song, suddenly there was a bunch of people yelling "salt" in the background. And I had never heard this before.
We had not discussed about it being a big choir or not.
No,
choir,
you guys had just come up with it while you
shout.
were recording.
I remember because that was a very organic thing.
Yeah.
Because Holly was on there too, wasn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were at the time we used to year 1 we recorded at Noah's house, and that's where we used to practice. And so I tend to, and Noah and I both, when we get when you get us together recording, and we just start being goofy and throwing in whatever. And I think that was just one of those times where we were just kind of playing around, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah, and you might have done "Salt" in like 3 different voices.
Yeah.
I think I did the "you," and then that cut on too.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's the beauty of recording, where you just find these little nuggets that are just like perfect, and it just kind of makes a song. And I think really, especially for when we're playing it live, it's just part of the fun for the people there, because they know they can shout "salt" here and "you" here, and it's just it was just a great. It just worked out just right.
Mike, had we decided at that point that we were going in broadcast order, and that's why we were doing those early ones?
I don't think we had decided that yet.
Okay.
I think you
were just like, here are they, and
you chose to do that, and
here are they.
and that was just the first one that you brought.
Well, from an episode perspective, that was one that was pretty much ingrained in my deep long-term memory, because that monster was so creepy and cool looking when I saw it as a kid, and leaving the marks on people's faces, and it was one that really stuck out in my memory. So I was kind of happy to have that episode and work on it. It's one that I remembered very well from my childhood.
It was
How do you guys divvy up the instruments? Chris had mentioned he played bass on the Cage, but on this track you play keyboards and provide backing vocals.
Well, whoever writes the song generally will play guitar because that's normally the instrument that we write on. And then everybody else, Andy always plays the drums, of course, and then everyone else kind of scrambles for the remaining instruments.
Usually we come in with, we hear a demo, and then somebody will think of a part. Oh, I have a guitar part.
I have an idea
I have an idea for what I want to do on bass.
A lot of us kind of have some kind of default instruments that we feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
That's fine, or that we prefer to have.
Yeah.
And I think also as time has progressed, I know like who might be best suited for what I want to have happen, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I might ask somebody like, I really want you to be playing guitar on this because I know you know this style of guitar playing that I want that I want this song to have, or and then sometimes it's just a total crapshoot. It's just like somebody happens to have picked up an instrument and is tinkering around, and all of a sudden, we're stuck on whatever it was we were messing around with.
Sometimes somebody will say, "Oh, I got an idea for that," and then he'll be sick. Like, for practice. He comes to practice next week. Oh yeah, I figured something out. We've already practiced that.
You're on keys, buddy.
You're on keys. It's happened to me.
We can say that almost very rarely does anyone choose keys. Sometimes.
None of us are
very occasionally.
None of us are really. We're all guitar players at the core, and so it's easier coming from guitar. It's easier to maybe think of a bass part.
Yeah.
And it just feels more natural. The keys are usually. I never choose keys unless I really have a good idea for it, and then otherwise, if I get stuck on keys. It's because the other guys just have ideas for other parts, and that's just what happens. But at the same time, sometimes you think, oh, great, I'm on keys again, but then you come up with a unique part that really works, and so it works out. So I tend to get more keys than anybody. Well, I don't know. It's starting to even out a little bit. I used to get the keys mostly, but
I'm a lot more comfortable with them than I used to.
Yeah, I think I
find it as a challenge.
And speaking of parts that work on the Man Trap, it was one of the most fun songs for me to work on in the studio because I really liked adding the guitar harmonies in there. And also there's that backing vocal part in the chorus that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And I came up with those things, which was actually Mike came up with the lead line, and then I developed it and added the harmony to it.
Yeah.
It really added an extra dimension to the song.
Yeah, when Noah and I, when it was just the two of us, we were sitting in his living room playing the Man Trap. We only had like 3 songs, and we were just jamming around on them, and I thought that the pre-chorus kind of reminded me of Boys Don't Cry.
Yep.
So I just started playing these like Cure-sounding guitar lines on it, and then it kind of just turned into that one line that we still have in the song.
We're Cure crazy.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things about the song is that Patrick and I kind of trade off on that part when we play it.
Mm-hmm.
He plays on the guitar, and then I'll play it on bass, and then the last time we do it as a harmony.
Yeah. The recording has, you don't always hear it live as well. The recording has the 2 guitars that do that harmony.
Yeah.
In the third
and the bass also
progression, I think. Yeah, with the bass.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have that many guitars, so we can't do it live. But
we're
not.
So we pull a Queen.
Yeah.
Just play it.
So you guys mentioned earlier that the audience has a little bit of participation here in the chorus. Has the Man Trap become a 5-year mission concert staple or a crowd pleaser?
It has.
It definitely was for a long time.
It was another one like the Cage that was
yeah.
almost never not on the set list. It was almost always, we almost always played it.
Well, I think a lot of the year ones. I mean, Miri was like that.
Yeah.
I'd say about 6 or 7.
I mean,
about half the album.
We closed
really.
with Dagger forever.
Dagger was on the list for a long time.
So we have a lot of the year one songs were like that. Although Man Trap is kind of endured because it has that audience participation, and it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
So it's not a real long song, so we can just knock it out and have fun with it. And so yeah,
we all glared at Mike when Chris said long song.
That is not what happened.
Now, when you're tracking something like the Man Trap that sort of has that sort of stop-start feel to it, how are you tracking that? obviously Andy's laying down his drums first. Is somebody just laying down a scratch part with him, or are you doing stuff, directly to the recording there because of the timing that you need?
The way that we record is we'll record Andy playing the drums, and we're only recording drums, but one of us will play along with him.
Into the headphones.
Usually
directly.
the songwriter.
Yeah, he can hear it in the headphones.
And whispering the vocals all creepy to me.
Yeah.
That's Mike. And then he's over there doing a million different, cartoon voices and, messing up the lyrics just trying to make me laugh. And then we have to do another take.
I try my hardest to make Andy smile when he's recording.
And then afterwards, I punch him in the throat.
So, guys, any closing thoughts on the Man Trap?
Yo!
All right. Awesome. All right, and that wraps up episode 2 of What Are Little Songs Made Of? It's been great having all 5 of the guys here again for this discussion, and we can't wait for next week when we'll be discussing Patrick's Charlie X. So in the meantime, you can catch up with us on Facebook at the Tricorder Transmissions or 5 Year Mission. That's the number 5 Year Mission. We're also on Twitter at TTT_pod and at 5 Year Mission. And if you don't already own the guys' music, you can get physical media from their website, 5yearmission.net. And digital music is always available from iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and you've got various streaming services like SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spotify out there to get your 5YM fix. So hopefully you'll all tune in again next week for episode 3. Thanks for listening, as always.
Salt, salt